Focus on Joplin Schools. I'm Brad Douglas, the General Manager of Jet HD, and this episode we're talking with Patty Wheeler from Parents as Teachers. Thanks, Patty, for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me.
Tell me what Parents as Teachers is. Give me a descript of it.
Well, Parents as Teachers is a home visiting program. By that we mean that we have a certified parent educator that visits families that have children under the age of 5.
Yeah.
And our focus is mainly to get children ready for kindergarten, but also to make parents feel comfortable being a parent and be the best parent they can be by knowing what's coming up next in their child's development.
And you see a lot, that Parents as Teachers is generally 0 to 5, right?
Right.
Age group. And how many kids do you generally see when you...
This year we have on our roll a little over 1,000 children under the age of 5 with a little more than 500 families that we visit, and there's 8 of us.
Wow. How many do you see? 8 into 1,000.
Yeah. Well, some families have 2 and 3 children, so
gotcha.
you know. But typically my caseload runs about 44 families that I see.
And the goal is to get them ready for kindergarten through this. And,
it's kindergarten ready.
So is that 1,000, do they all go to Joplin Schools? Is that where they go? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
For Parents as Teachers for the state of Missouri,
Right.
Each school district has their own PAT program. The focus is the same. We have a national center in St. Louis that provides us with our curriculum and provides us with all the research information that we're supposed to pass on to parents. But each school district has their own PAT program.
Got it. So once they hit about 5, they're getting ready for kindergarten.
Right.
So, and you said enrollment is a bit down this year for people pre-registering for kindergarten. So talk about that. You want the numbers to go up a little bit.
We do. Each year, Joplin School Districts expects anywhere from 600 to 650 kindergartners. And they base that on the birth rate and also looking at previous years. So we'd like to have as many of those 650 enrolled before the first day of school.
Right.
Right now, we think we have maybe 250, 300 enrolled.
Right.
We had a push during spring break week back in March, where they came and parents, came and enrolled the children, and we got them signed up for their developmental screening at that time. So now it's the push of getting all those. Maybe that this is their first kindergartner, and they didn't, they haven't been paying attention to the news.
It's all new to them.
Yes.
And you said it's we were talking before the show started. It's kind of like going to a new job. Talk about that. You want these kids to have a good first impression of their school.
Right. Yeah. Typically, a kindergarten teacher is going to have her classroom set up, and she's going to have name tags on all the tables and chairs, and different cubby holes with the child's name on it. And if a parent waits until the first day of school or a couple of days before school to enroll their child, then their child may walk in without that information, without that feeling of welcome.
And the first day of school is scary enough.
You
don't want the very first image of school to be, they didn't expect me.
Right.
Yeah.
And typically, the kindergarten open house is a couple of days before. So again, you might miss that information. So then your child is still kind of left out in the dark.
And the alternative is they go to school and then they just play catch up the first few days. What do they do?
Well, we're not going to turn anybody away the first day of school, as long as they meet age requirement and immunization requirement. So they will be placed into a classroom. Sometimes, if the classrooms are getting overcrowded and then the school district has to hire another teacher, then maybe 3 or 4 weeks into the school year, they're dividing that classroom up and making another classroom. So we really need to know how many students are coming before that first day of school.
So how do parents enroll? What do they do?
Well, right now, we are asking parents to go to the school that their child would be enrolled in. Okay. So if you're new to Joplin and you don't have any clue about school, because we do have 11 elementary schools, they can go on the Joplin website, plug in their address under the school locator, and they'll tell them what school to go to.
Right. And they need to bring some things too before they check in.
Right.
Talk about that a little bit.
When they come to enroll for kindergarten, they need to bring a current immunization record. They need to bring proof of residency, and that proof of residency needs to be like an electric bill, a water bill, within the last 30 days.
Kind of like going to the DMV.
Yeah,
you need
kind
to
of
bring
like
a lot
that.
of that stuff.
Yeah. State-issued birth certificate.
Right.
And parents' photo ID. And if you're a guardian, then you need to bring that paperwork as well. So they do sometimes will ask for the child's Social Security card. and Social Security number, but that's optional. If the parent doesn't want to give it, they don't have to.
So they go to that, they find it at their school and bring all that information. Then the kid's good and ready.
The kid's good.
The kid's good.
Yeah.
Well, talk a bit about before they get to kindergarten. What's some things or some activities you do when you go out to the house?
We talk about social emotional development. We talk about self-help skills. Can your child, button their coat? Can they open milk? Can they do, these things that are going to be needed in kindergarten? But prior to that, when we're talking about a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old, we're talking about making eye contact when you talk to a person, using polite manners. The school district has had, this last year's had a big focus on core behaviors. So as parents, as teachers, we've even introduced those to the homes that we go to so that those terms or those expectations will be not new to the child.
Right.
They'll understand
And
that.
you've probably seen some success stories over the years when you first visited versus the last visit, right?
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. And it's always exciting when you offer a parent some suggestions. Like I was on a home visit yesterday, and the child just turned 4, and previously we were working on gross motor skills. And I know that kind of sounds like, oh, what's that got to do with school? But we know that if they can't keep up on the playground, then they lose friends easy, and it's hard to make friends if you're not keeping up on the playground.
Yes.
And that's a big part of, being in school and enjoying school. Anyway, this little girl she was having a little trouble hopping on one foot and skipping or, standing on one foot. And I went back yesterday, and that's the first thing that little girl showed me was that she could stand on one foot.
There you go. That gets harder the older you get, too.
It does. It does. It was hard to demonstrate, too,
Yes,
let me
exactly.
tell you.
And it's also helpful for the parents, too.
It
I mean,
is.
the kids are learning, but the parents, too. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, and our focus really is teaching parents what to expect at what age. And so I like to think of us using the child as a prop. We bring in an activity, and like yesterday we were fishing for the alphabet. We had a fishing pole with a magnet, and I had, the alphabet letters with a paper clip, and we were fishing, and as we pulled it out, we made the sound, or we named a letter.
Okay.
And so there's something the parent can easily duplicate when I'm gone.
Yeah, because there's not 1,000 of you.
That's right. There's not 1,000 of them.
Also, there's activities that the parents they can get together at one point too.
Right.
They can network, if you will, with
Right.
parents.
We have what's called parent-child connections. Twice a month, we get together and we will provide an array of activities that the parent and child do together. We had one in conjunction with the Early Childhood Center just a couple of weeks ago called Spring Planting. And so the kids dug in the dirt, they planted flowers. We had a sensory tub where we hid fishing worms.
Oh, yeah.
And so they dug in there to find the fishing worms.
Yeah.
But it gives parents a time to talk to each other.
Yeah. Exchange phone numbers. Say,
yeah.
my kid's got this problem. Does yours? Stuff
Yeah,
like that.
exactly. And find out you're not alone out there.
Oh yeah. There's 1,000 potential parents. Yeah.
Yeah, we got lots of parents out there.
Before we wrap this up, one more time, talk about how do they sign up for the screenings and the enrollment. One more time.
Well, when they go to their elementary school,
Okay.
they'll take all that information.
Yeah.
The secretary will enroll them, and she will set up an appointment for the developmental screening.
And get it done before the first day of school.
Get it done before the
It
first
helps
day
out
of school.
everybody.
Yes, it does.
Patty, you were awesome. I
Thank
appreciate you
you.
coming by. For Jet HD, I'm Brad Douglas.